In 1945, George Orwell wrote a masterpiece novella titled Animal Farm. The story follows a group of barnyard animals who decided to revolt against their oppressive alcoholic human master, Mr. Jones. The pigs of the farm, led by Snowball and Napoleon, are considered the most intelligent, and they eventually lead a revolt. They successfully cast out their oppressive human and begin running the farm themselves, renaming their farm Animal Farm and creating a system of commandments called animalism. The story unravels into various points of tension until one day Snowball and Napoleon begin disagreeing with each other. Snowball has plans to prosper the farm animals with many inventions that will help their work, such as a windmill. And Napoleon prefers to focus on other immediate aspects of the farm, such as food. All the farm animals gather together to make a vote on which one of the pigs they should listen to, Snowball or Napoleon. And just when the vote is about to begin, Napoleon unleashes 3 wild dogs to chase down Snowball out of the community to try and kill him. The animals on the farm are then left with Napoleon as their leader, and chaos ensues the farm animals as the years go by. With Snowball, the animals had so much food and were happy, but with Napoleon, the animals became oppressed, faced gruesome labor, and watched their beloved farm friends die one by one as the years passed by. Whenever a farm animal stood up to speak their minds to Napoleon, a dog would growl at them and prevent them from speaking. With Snowball, they lived under the commandment that all farm animals were equal. But under Napoleon, that same commandment eventually changed into all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. I'm sure those of you watching can relate to these farm animals. I know I can, especially Snowball. I've been attacked before in many ways for speaking out against oppression and lies. I've had friends who were blind and could not see that they were being deceived by their religion and refused to have their eyes open. I've had dogs released on me and chase me down as well. Recently, it seems my videos have been reaching the ears of some of the farm animals, and one of the 3 dogs of Napoleon has growled at me. Elder Kabeer. He's left some interesting comments on my most recent video, and I felt the need to go through it as I'm quite certain he has not seen any of my other videos that directly addressed his comments. But discernment and full understanding of a person's full testimony is not something to be expected by an ecclesiastical judge of straightway. Kabeer left the following comment on my last video. This is a false statement and misrepresentation of Straightway Truth Ministry. Pastor Dowell does not require all members to give up their income in order to be part of the ministry or to receive salvation. Many members live independently and manage their own finances. The only people this would directly apply to are those who voluntarily choose to live in a communal setting, where resources are shared by agreement among the community members themselves, similar to what is seen in Acts 2 and 4. Participation in community living is voluntary, not a requirement for the kingdom. He made sure to capitalize the K in kingdom there. Here we see Kabeer present his opinion that is contrary to the teaching of Pastor Dowell's. What am I talking about, you may ask? Well, we know for a fact that Dowell teaches community living is required for salvation because we have his exact words on the matter. Here, Kabeer, I'll show you it on the screen since you don't really enjoy doing discernment yourself. You see that big yellow highlighted paragraph? That's Pastor Dowell speaking, and he says, community living and selling all possessions is, quote, the only way that the saints will be purified and made white. It will be when they live together. They must lay down everything. Does everyone understand what it means to be purified and made white according to the Bible? Isaiah 1:18 says, come now and let us argue, says Yahweh. Even though your sins are like scarlet, they will be white like snow. Even though they are red like crimson, they shall become like wool. Isaiah 118 is profoundly linked to Yom Kippur, and using the scapegoat that had a scarlet cloth tied to it that would miraculously turn white was the signal that Yahweh was forgiving Israel for that calendar year. Psalm 51:7 says, "Purify me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow." Psalm 51 uses the hyssop, alluding to the ritual of the red heifer, whose ashes are sprinkled into the mikvah water to cleanse Israel of their defilement. Revelation 7:14 says, "And I said to him, My Lord, you know." And he said to me, "These are the ones who have come out of the great tribulation and have washed their robes and have made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Revelation 7:14 identifies those with the washed robes as those who inherit the gift of salvation after exiting the tribulation. Daniel 12:10 says, "Many will be purified and will be cleansed and will be refined, but the wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand. But those who have insight will understand." You can't escape Daniel 12, which is in the context of time after the world has been judged, and we have those who are purified being spoken of there. So sorry, Kabeer, while you would love to think that your pastor is not stupid enough to believe community living and forsaking all is not required to salvation, his own words testify against you. Let Dowell answer for himself on this matter, Kabeer, because your own bylaws prevent you and any human on earth from approaching Dowell ecclesiastically. He has full authority and full power to do whatever he wants on, quote, all matters. Do you think I make these videos because I want to? I make these videos because I have to, because your pastor is self-exempt from ecclesiastical judgment and is beyond approach from any and all men, including you, an elder.
Now, I need if y'all understand something. I'm the head of this ministry. I don't need their opinion. I don't need their judgments. I don't need nothing from them whatsoever at all. There's nobody in this ministry that can judge me.
So, Kabeer, with all due respect, let Dowell answer for himself. It's been over 20 years, and we have not heard a damn word from Dowell about this. So what reason do I have, to assume that he changed his mind in regard to the salvation aspect? Because he's been falsely teaching about giving all since at least November 1st, 2025.
So there's a doctrine that was going on even in the midst of all this about how that you don't have to pay tithes and you don't have to give offerings. That's how wicked this thing is. Think about this for a second. Now, I agree, you ain't got to pay tithes. That's why it says give all.
Kabeer then comments with this next comment after we agree that Dowell's give all teaching only applies to physical community on land members. Of course it only applies to them, Kabeer. Dowell doesn't consider offlanders saved. He says the following: "Then we agree on an important distinction. You are specifically speaking about those who voluntarily choose communal living on land, not everyone who fellowships with Straightway. That was the point I was correcting, because your earlier wording broadly stated members and salvation in a way that can mislead people unfamiliar with the ministry astray." Kabeer has proven by his own testimony here that he disagrees with Pastor Dowell, who does in fact teach that you must give all in order to enter into the kingdom. If you think that Jim Searcy interview is insufficient, how about this?
"And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God." And when his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed. You hear that? They were exceedingly amazed. Just like many of you right now. You are exceedingly amazed. I'm telling you right now. If you want to go into the kingdom, you need to sell all that you have.
Did you hear that, Kabeer? If you want to enter into the kingdom, you need to sell all that you have. Your pastor teaches that, not me. So no, I am not misrepresenting straightway or misleading people. Your pastor said it with his own words. I then respond to Kabeer's comment on my usage of the word king, and Kabeer says, "You are importing a Western political framework into a Hebraic community structure. In our understanding, a pastor or elder is not viewed as a king in the monarchical sense. Biblically and culturally, leadership can also resemble elders, judges, princes, or chiefs over a people or community. Among my own Yoruba people in Africa, a community head or spiritual leader would be understood more like a chief than a king." Oh, brother. A king carries a different meaning tied to throne, dynasty, inheritance, and royal bloodline. Pastor Dowell is viewed as a spiritual leader and elder, not a monarch demanding worship or ownership over people. Disagreeing with doctrine is one thing, but using inflammatory labels like king repeatedly only creates more heat than understanding. Well, I'm going to put you to the fire and see how you feel this heat here. Clearly, Kabeer has no idea that I'm not a Christian. He isn't aware that I've been following Straightway before he even stepped foot in the ministry. He isn't aware that I'm a grafted in Israelite, born again in water and of fire. He isn't aware that I keep the testimony of Jesus and guard his commandments. He could not have chosen a worse place to leave a comment on regarding Western ideology about pastors. Again, Kabeer, your bylaws designate Pastor Dowell is in a invented office called senior pastor that exempts him from the ecclesiastical process and gives him full authority over, quote, all matters, an authority that is only given to the King of Israel, who even the office of the king himself does not have the authority to override an ecclesiastical process like Dowell did with the Honorable Elder Rufus. And by the way, Pastor Dowell made sure to add these bylaws to your ministry after your miserable handling of Elder Rufus, just to make it look like what was taking place with Elder Rufus was a normal day in the office. It wasn't. And brother, keep that Yoruba tribe nonsense away from me. My people are Israelites and those who wish to be grafted in. Keep your pagan African shit in the desert where it belongs. Didn't you hear Pastor Dowell, Kabeer? Renounce your family. Forsake your family. So Elder Kabeer and any one of the farm animals who hear me clearly. The Bible does not teach for believers to give all their income and possessions in order to be a disciple. It does not teach that it is required for salvation like Pastor Dowell believes. I agree with you, Kabeer, but your pastor doesn't agree with us. So this is your problem that your pastor teaches that you submit yourself to. If that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do that. But remember one thing. You do so according to Dowell, not according to the Bible. Shalom.
You see, we're sitting up here, and we done been through a lot in this dead season. And I can tell you this, the majority of every single thing that is going on in this dead season has all happened from people who don't live on communities or in a home fellowship. Did you hear that? 99.9% of it. You know the reason why? Too much liberty to gad abroad.